Hello and welcome to this episode of Class is in Session. I'm your host, Ashley Stevens, and this show on Black Enterprise highlights the latest happenings inside HBCU classrooms, public policy issues facing these historic institutions, and we also shine a light on HBCU students, leaders, and alum who are making major moves in business, education, entertainment, the art, and health. Excited to have today's special guest, Nandi Edouard. She is the founder and executive director of Simple Vue Academy. The Spelman alumna, Nandi, has returned home to Atlanta to build a school rooted in her community. Simple Vue Academy is a tuition-free public charter middle school, building an early pipeline into higher education and career readiness for Black and Brown students by introducing not just STEM, but STREAM, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy at the middle school level through a community-driven model. We're excited to have Nandi Edouard here with us today on Class is in Session. Hello and welcome, Nandi.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. That was beautiful.
Absolutely. Listen, I think the work that you're doing is beautiful. I'm always encouraged to see sisters and brothers as educators, because I don't think enough of our young people get to see that on a regular basis. So let's just start a little bit and talk about who you are and what you do. Where are you from? And how did you gain an interest in being an educator?
Yes, I am born and raised in Cobb County, Georgia. My family comes from Brooklyn, New York, Barbados, and Haiti. So I have a pretty extensive Caribbean background. I grew up in the community in which I serve. And so I grew up through the public school system in Cobb County Public Schools, then attended Spelman College to get my bachelor's degree in psychology. After leaving Spelman, I then moved to Houston, Texas to be an educator. So I taught 6th through 8th grade ELA in Houston, Texas at a charter school network that was growing and expanding. I got the bug that I wanted to be in leadership. And so I moved to Brooklyn, New York to become a dean of students. I got my master's at Columbia University, Teachers College in educational leadership, and became the director of school culture over a middle school in Brooklyn. Then at that point, I was like, okay, I've seen people do it, but I feel like I can do it better. I feel like I can meet my community's needs. And so I moved back down to Georgia. I was in a fellowship program that really helped me get the school off the ground. And then at that point, we started a summer program, and our families were like, how do we do this every day? Summer camp is great, but like, how do I get my kid to go to a school like this? And then at that point, I was like, why not open a school? And so we journeyed on to open this school, and now we're here completing our first year.
Congratulations. If I had my tambourine, I would have shaken my tambourine to celebrate your 1-year anniversary. Nandi, you shared a lot, but I don't know that I can completely wrap my mind around the fact that someone just says, let's start a school. That's not like a lemonade stand. Like, oh, let's go outside. I mean, that's like from concept to implementation, an entire school. And you just celebrated one successful year. How did you go from the camp to the school? Like, what made that realistic, and why Atlanta?
Yeah, great question. So my family is a family of entrepreneurs. So I literally seen them be entrepreneurial my entire life. And so I think I kind of just picked up on the resilience needed, the grit, the kind of strategic thinking, problem solving, how to meet your community where they're at from them, and then took that and said, how do I build a school based in the community in which I want to serve? And so what started as a summer program was kind of like a pilot. Let me try this out with a group of kids, low stakes, no high testing or anything like that, to see kind of how they responded. And then at that point, I felt pretty good about our design, and then went into community and asked people, would you like your student to engage in this type of learning? What do you feel like you would want the outcome to be for your student? And just really was in a curious stance for 18 months. I would even say I'm still curious about what the community wants from our school. And at that point, we had a pretty good understanding. We interviewed, met with over 1,000 people in different formats, churches, fellowship halls, going to other people's schools and asking kids, like, what do they want from school? Because they're the end user. They're the ones who are actually experiencing it. And so their voices are critical to opening or to making sure that this environment meets their needs. After kind of talking to families, students, I then went to business owners and was asking them, like, how do you support schools in your community? What can you do for us? What can we do for you? And a lot of those conversations were like, well, we need more this. We need more students educated around these things. And that kind of shaped our design, which is based in entrepreneurship, STREAM, which is science, technology, reading, writing, engineering, arts, and mathematics. We blend our subjects together so our students have a real world experience. And then we open our doors and we've just been trying everything that our community has asked for, our students have asked for, and we're excited for year two.
I love to hear it. From vision to reality, that's a really big deal. We're here with Nandi Edouard. She's the founder and executive director of Simple Vue Academy, a public tuition-free charter middle school. Tell us, Nandi, how many students do you serve, and what has been the feedback so far after completing one successful year of running Simple Vue Academy?
Yeah. Currently we serve about 80 students. We are growing to 150 next year. So, double in size because the engagement from our community has been so amazing. Our students have grown so much because this design truly meets what they want to see at school and what they need at school. Our students started below national averages in math and reading, and we've grown them 20 to 30% in just 6 months. And that's really because of small classroom sizes, you listening to students. I think that has been our biggest kind of aha, is really asking students what they want. How do you see yourself completing this task? And giving them the framework to be successful. Just at the end of our school year, we had our entrepreneurship expo and marketplace, which
Mhm.
really proved our design. We had students pitch in front of a panel of investors, their ideas. And one of our students walked away with a sponsorship from our Chamber of Commerce because his idea was just really good. And then we moved to our marketplace where we had student led businesses. They sold lemonade, cookies, candles. They were drawing on the spot, bracelets, watches. Like they were doing everything out there. So it was just amazing to see our students really create for themselves and the community or their target audience. We talk about that all the time. Like, who are you serving? What is this thing going to serve? Because they need to understand that you just don't make things just because there needs to be something behind it. And I think they've been able to see me kind of create this school and right in front of them, and has only given them more fuel to create for themselves.
I love that. And I agree with you, Nandi. You are truly, literally a living example to and role model to your students to see what entrepreneurship in action really looks like. And I love the concept of the entrepreneurship market and expos. So this means the students they have ideas, products, they're actually marketing them to an audience, right?
Yes, ma'am. Right in front
This
of the
is really
people.
cool.
Hmm.
Wow. But let's get into the actual curriculum of the school. Let's start with the stream. What are you all instilling in children and teaching them about stream-based subjects?
Yes. So STREAM stands for science, technology, reading, writing, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And so in traditional public schools, you walk in and you kind of just have a math class and you just learn math. And then you go to English class and you kind of just learn English concepts. But at the Simple View, math, English, reading, writing, science, technology is all infused into all of our classrooms. There's no untouched space. You're not just a math teacher. You are a stream teacher, because math, we bring in financial literacy concepts, which when you bring into financial literacy, you got to bring in the history. You got to have an understanding on how money has played out over time. When they go to humanities class, which is their social studies class, they are talking about engineering, because even in history, people were creating. What does that look like? Why did someone create a dam to make sure water didn't get to a certain place, so that we could have lines and territories? So while they're learning the standards of excellence in the state of Georgia, they're also applying these real world concepts to make the curriculum sticky. A lot of the feedback that we got as we were opening and building this school was like, school is boring. I feel like I'm not learning anything that I'm actually going to use outside of this place. And all I'm doing is testing. We have moved away from a heavy load of testing. We do a lot of project based learning so that our students don't feel the overwhelmingness of, dang, I'm always being evaluated based upon how I test. We practice speaking so that they can articulate their ideas. We talk about how to balance your books, a budget, why your parents can't take you to McDonald's every night. Like, have you asked them what they do for work and understand what they're up against? Really just creating whole humans that walk into the world differently, that they understand community in a different way. Because we need young people to change our trajectory. We need these young people to create for us because they're the ones that are going to take care of us.
You're exactly right, and I love that that mindset shift is being instilled very early because you're right. We will need this generation to help to take care of us. So that's awesome to hear, kind of about the stream-based model. And you touched literally a little bit on the financial literacy piece, but tell us why is it important for you as founder and executive director of your own school, Simple Vue Academy, to also focus on entrepreneurship and on financial literacy, especially at the middle school level?
Yeah. Um, Really because they don't understand these type of topics until they get to college. Um, our college students were saying like, when I get to college or when I'm leaving high school, I have no clue what to do with my money, how to save it, what investment is. Um, the refund check story is probably the thing that we all know. Your first refund check, you go blow it on the party or eating out or whatever when that was supposed to be your money to sustain your living. And then also, the refund check might not be enough. How do you create an experience or a side job or something to bring in some extra income? What might that look like for you? So entrepreneurship is the way to economic mobility, and entrepreneurship can meet anyone. And so what we've seen even from our special education students, our ESOL students, it is an access point for everyone because it doesn't matter what you have or where you come from. You can create, you can innovate. And being at a school that is all about it, we have the resources and the people and the support so that that idea that you have can actually come to life. And we've been able to see that happen just in this first year. And so we're just really excited to what's to come. And then even what our high schoolers are going to be able to do, they're going to be financially literate people who can literally help our community do something different. I think we've all seen over the last 10 years the trajectory of Black and Brown people going downhill. And so we've got to turn it on its face. We've got to get our young people way more engaged in understanding what is what they're up against so that they can combat that, overcome it, and keep thriving.
Mhm. This is interesting. One, I love the concept of what you shared about, innovating, creating. That's the heart and the crux of entrepreneurship. You mentioned high school students, and you said that you're growing next year. So tell us, in your first year, the grades. Did you currently serve grades 6 through 8? Is that right? So are
And
you
our
growing and expanding for the fall?
Yes. So our first year, we just opened with sixth and seventh grade. Next year, we'll have sixth through eighth grade. And then every year after that, we'll add a grade level until we have our first graduates.
I love it. I
Yes.
love it. I love it. That's awesome. And you know what? And what's the feedback from parents? Because to know that they have invested in you and believed in your vision to start their child at sixth or seventh grade, and now know that the child will be able to stay with some of those same peers and maybe even some of the same teachers and grow to graduation. What's been the feedback and response from the parents and guardians in your
Yeah,
community?
a lot of the feedback has been super positive. I tell every family, no matter if they stay with us, come with us, like are down hard, 10 toes down, that they're my cousin. They're a part of this family. One of our core values is Ubuntu, which means I am because we are. We have to work as a unit in a collective. And so our families are so excited that they get to experience this model from middle school all the way to graduate status. Our school is not only centered on entrepreneurship, all it is also a college preparatory institution as well. So even though we're focused on entrepreneurship, we're also getting our kids ready if they want to engage in college studies or higher education of some sort. And so they're just really excited. I think every family that has joined alongside and stayed alongside us are just 10 toes down, involved and invested. I am blown away by the amount of support that we get from our families. They want to be along the journey. They want to be alongside us as their student is learning and engaging in these type of experiences. I have families literally reaching out to me saying like, my daughter came home and she said she was talking about grants and I don't know about grants. I want to start a business. Can you help me? And I'm like, yes, and also your daughter can help you too, because she just learned about these things. So we try to make the learning accessible for anybody who wants to engage in it. And so our families are really appreciative of that because they get to learn as well.
I love that. The family's getting to learn as well. Listen, I think we've got some clips and some footage to show of everyday life at Simple Vue Academy. Let's take a look.
The Simple Vue Academy is born out of the idea that entrepreneurship is a way for economic mobility for disadvantaged students.
What excites me about the Simple Vue is our stream camp, working with the individuals on the board, being out in the community, and seeing the impact that we've made on families so far from working with them in our camps.
I'm excited about the Simple Vue Academy's mission and what we're doing because this literally could change the trajectory of a child's life or their family's life.
The Simple Vue Academy gives our students an alternative option to make sure that they realize their full potential.
I joined the board of Simple Vue Academy to ensure that I could help support the community that I was living in and support the students in that community.
I joined the board so that we could provide robust and innovative wraparound services for the community.
I love the Simple Vue Academy because of its mission to support innovation and entrepreneurship in young students throughout the Metro Atlanta area.
Awesome. You know, the work you do is so impactful, Nandi. And I think what is also really cool to see is the connection between K-12 education and innovation and the future of higher education. How do you make that connection? How are you exposing students to higher education, including historically Black colleges and universities?
Yes. So my one being a model, I also invite my Spelman sisters, Morehouse brothers in consistently to come and just work with students, talk with them. Next year is we will have 8th graders. And so that's when we'll really start pushing our college preparatory initiatives and having them go and visit colleges. Colleges come here to talk to them so that they can have an early exposure experience right here at home with us. And so that they can navigate when they get to that choice making point, like, am I going to go here? Is this what I want to experience? A lot of the design is really rooted in exposing our kids to a little bit so they feel like they know a lot. So it's a small doses of things so that when they get to that choosing point that they can say, all right, I remember when I did this. I liked the way that I felt when I experienced this thing. And so that's the thing that I think I want to engage in. And so, our students on Monday want to be police officers, Tuesday want to be nurses, Wednesday want to be teachers. And so we are trying to get them to go down some different pathways by the time they reach high school so that they can have a really good informed thought once they leave our doors.
I love that informed thought. I'll go back to the HBCU piece in a minute, but something I thought about it because you are growing and because the students will grow with you and you're going to continue to add until these, current students become graduates of your school. What does that mean for you as a leader? And what does that mean for your staff? Are you having to grow in the size of your staff, in the training, in the credentials? What does this mean to be able to add on a grade level every year so that you're meeting the needs of students as they grow?
Yes. As we grow, we have to grow staff. So yes, every year we are adding more and more expertise on so that our students get a really well-rounded experience. Myself, woo, it has been a learning journey just getting the school open. And so I am always in a spongy state, trying to learn more, trying to access more so that I can be my best self and the best leader for this institution. At some point, we'll have to hire a principal because right now in our first year, I play principal and executive director, which are really two different roles. And so somebody has to come in and lead the instructional model once we grow to full size so that we can actually focus on the things that we need to get done so that students get what they need. So yeah, we're excited to keep growing and adding on more family members. I tell my staff at this point, we live together because we're here all day long together. And so they're part of my family. And I'm excited to add some more people in my family.
I like that. Adding more people to your family. We are here with Nandi Edouard. She's the founder and executive director of Simple Vue Academy, a public tuition-free school in Atlanta. Currently a middle school, but it's going to be growing to high school grades. Nandi, you mentioned that you bring in your Spelman sisters, your Morehouse brothers. Let's go all the way back to why did you choose an HBCU, specifically
Yeah.
Spelman College?
Yes, that's a great question. When I was coming up through my K through 12 experience, it was very white. I lived in Cobb County, which during that time when I was growing up was predominantly white. So I was one of the only Black faces through my K through 12 experience. And so when I got to high school, I felt like, what does it mean to walk through the world as a Black woman? And I feel like I have not learned that. I've seen my mom model it, but it hasn't been a thing that actually was taught to me. I didn't understand the history of Black women in the United States, in the world. And so I was like, I need to understand that. And so when I applied to college, I only applied to HBCUs. I did not apply anywhere else. It was Howard or Spelman. I applied to both, got into both, and then made the choice to go to Spelman because of a summer program that I did there. I met some amazing Spelman alumna who kind of took me under their wing and mentored me. And it was just a great experience. I also engaged in one at Howard, and not that no shade to Howard, but it just wasn't as impactful as my Spelman experience. And so then at that point, I was like, I gotta go. And I'll add a little side nugget too that my older brother went to Morehouse. So I had a lot of exposure to the AUC as well.
Mhm.
So it was just an easy choice to go to Spelman. And I'm from here. So my mom got to come and visit me every now and again, wash my clothes and stuff.
Okay, so not only were you, you you grew and you learned from the Spelman women as you became one yourself, but you still had mama by your side there to wash
That's
your clothes.
right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So tell me, how did Spelman College prepare you personally and professionally for your career, especially now as the founder and executive director of your own public charter school?
Yes. Spelman was an amazing experience. My teachers were really integral to who I am today. One of my mentors, I call her like my auntie. She even spoke at my hearing for my school. Dr. Wanchella Grooms Francis. It was probably the most critical person that I met at Spelman. She was my first year advisor and then moved to being my psychology advisor. And then by the time I graduated, I was just in her classroom just because I didn't have any more classes with her, but I just needed to be up under her because she just exudes excellence. I think watching her navigate higher education and the conversations that we used to have within her classroom really pushed my thinking. All my classes really pushed my thinking on what it means to walk through the world as a Black woman and to create change for that world. A lot of the curriculum was rooted in community. What is going on in your community? How are you helping them solve that problem? And there was a lot of community service that was required of us. To be someone who takes from this world, you have to give back. And so having those type of experiences really cultivated who I am today, how I show up, and the leader that I am. So Spelman was life-changing, transformative. And not only that, our school is so small that you kind of have to engage in community, in collaboration, and in sisterhood. And so I was a little sister to my older brother, but and I always got his back. But it's different when you have sisters. Like, I don't know, it's just like the sheer fierceness that comes over you when you're like, something's happened to my Spelman sister. Oh no, girl, I'm coming down the street. Don't even worry about it. So to this day, my Spelman sisters have had my back through this experience. If I needed them to come and help lift tables, put up wallpaper, sort through some things, they're here for me. And so I not only learned how to be someone who other people can depend on, but now make sure that's the type of environment that we are cultivating for these young people.
Love to hear it. Love to hear you've had support both in and out of college from your Spelman sisters. I think that's a really big deal. We think about the notion that you are an entrepreneur at heart. Like, you're an educator turned entrepreneur who's still an educator. What type of support have you had to just get the school off the ground? What type of partnerships, financial support? Like, how do you just start a school? Like I said, this is not a lemonade stand. This is a whole educational institution that's growing, thriving and growing. How have you had support?
Yes. So initially I started in a fellowship program, which gave me the understanding and the knowledge to open a school. After doing that for a few months, I then moved into the Georgia Charter School Association's fellowship program, where they really helped us understand Georgia charter schools specifically, because every state has their own process for charter schools. And so it's really important for you to understand your state's stance and how they navigate and function. After doing that fellowship program, I did a couple of different oddball programs that kind of helped build my business acumen. Because while I am an educator, started as an educator, in order to be a really thriving entrepreneur, you have to understand the business side of this experience in order for it to actually thrive. I would say that my educator comes in now because I have students right in front of me, but it did not kick in until I had students in front of me. I had to lean in on my business, fellowship programs, people, support, courses I could just find online in order to actually get this thing open. Now I would say, literally, my board of directors are integral supports to getting things done. They're the people who I bounce ideas off of, who, if I need some financial support, they bond together to figure out how to get things done. They raised over $25,000 this year, which is pretty amazing for a first year charter school and a brand new board. We've gotten grants from New School Venture Fund, Black Women and Girls Consortium, the Community Foundation of Greater Atlanta, 4.0, Transcend. There's been a lot of financial support. Our biggest grant came from the state of Georgia in the Charter School Program Grant that was awarded last year for $1.5 million. And so we were able to get our doors open and get started in a very smooth and comfy way, because we had such a pretty good substantial financial backing to get us started. Along this journey, other people have contributed. We've had fundraisers. We had our annual fundraiser in February. We had a brunch. We raised over $10,000 that day. So, like, there are people who are really excited about this model and have given to us financially. Of course, children, they need a lot more than just the basics. So we're always looking for more. So if anybody out there has some pockets and they want to donate to some student businesses, that would be such a helpful support to us over here at the Simple Vue.
Got it. That's awesome to hear you've had support, always open to more. Nandi, what's been one of the most challenging parts of running your own school day to day, and really starting it from the ground up just a year ago?
Yes, I can't even land one challenging part, but the thing that popped into my brain was just keeping everybody on the same train. Oftentimes in newness, everyone wants to create and say, "Oh, we can do this thing. Oh, we have this kind of clean slate, this blank canvas to kind of throw paint on. And it's like, okay, there's paint already on the canvas, and we kind of need to keep on with the picture that we're creating. We can add some green here, add some red here, but we really got to keep this picture growing. And so it's the hardest part is keeping all the different key players on the train. My teachers, my students, their families, the community, in mission-driven work. Making sure that they understand the mission and what we're trying to get done. This is not a school that is going to become, this big craze that people see everywhere online. We're doing a bunch of TikToks. We are doing true learning here because it is essential for our young people to walk out of our school doors being able to create difference for ourselves, for our people. So we are in here learning every day.
Yeah.
Trying to get it done.
Literally, you as a leader and the students are all learning in different capacities.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it. Well, Nandi, what's one of your biggest wins? What are you most proud of as you think of completing one successful year and growing of Simple Vue Academy?
Yes, ma'am. Two things. I'm really proud that every teacher that started with us is finishing with us. And that is pretty unheard of in a first year startup struggle charter school. For them to stay and be willing to come back and keep at it with us is pretty amazing. And I'm so proud of every person who has stepped in here to get these kids to the finish line. And then my second win would definitely be our expo and marketplace. That was a dream moment. That is something that I've seen in the vision, something that God has placed on my heart. So it was amazing to see it happen in real time, real life with these kiddos.
Love to see it. And always glad that you can celebrate your wins as you continue to grow. Nandi, what's next for Simple Vue Academy?
So we're on to year 2, building out the whole middle school model, starting our high school and figuring out what that might look like for the community. We're also going to start offering our alternative programs, which is our spring break camp, summer camp, just to make sure that students, not even just ours, any student has an experience that is untraditional and unique to them. So we are excited about the additional programming that we're going to bring on, the additional students, their families, and community members.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. We'll stay posted. Where can folks find out more about you and what you do at Simple Vue Academy?
We are on all platforms as the Simple Vue Academy. So you can look us up anywhere: LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the big platforms. And then you can also just visit our website, thesimplevueacademy.org.
Love it, love it, love it. Nandi, as we close out, because you do so much, you're continuing to grow. I'm just interested in what grounds you? What are your daily words to live by?
Yeah, that's a good one. What grounds me is sleep, a nap, a lay down. I'm one of those people that says, okay, my day is done. I got to close up shop. My mentors and the people who have done this before me have said that is essential to you being your best and well self. And so I go to sleep. And when I need a nap, I take a nap. So that is what has kept me grounded through this experience.
Listen, I believe in a good nap. And rest is essential
Yes, ma'am.
to all that you have to do. And you're doing it well. Nandi, we've so appreciated you being here with us on Classes in Session.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Excited to hear all that Nandi Edouard is doing as founder and executive director of Simple Vue Academy. Be sure to share this episode with family and friends, especially if you got folks in the Atlanta area, or if you're a donor, supporter, anyone across the country or even out of the country, you know that you want to support all that she's doing to educate young minds in the STEAM industries, financial literacy and entrepreneurship as well. She's doing big things and continuing to grow. Also, stay posted for the latest and greatest on Black Enterprise's website at blackenterprise.com and our social media channels. This podcast, Classes in Session, will also be available on Spotify. So for this edition featuring Nandi Edouard, I'm your host, Ashley Stevens. And for this episode of Classes in Session, class is dismissed.